Welcome to Groundbreak 2020, Procore's first virtual Groundbreak. My name is Chris Berkeley, and the intent of this session, whether you're a current Procore customer or not, is to walk away with an understanding of how Procore's project management software connects teams and project information to help them make better decisions faster. This is only a 30-minute session, so we're going to start with some background on the industry and Procore. Then you'll hear from our customer, TerWisscha Construction, on their path to technology adoption and some of the challenges and successes along the way. Then we'll finish with a demo of the product focused on fundamentals like schedule, daily logs, and a sneak peek into the new schedule lookaheads feature designed to connect the field and office. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to put them in the chat feature down below, and Keegan, myself, or a Procore expert will get you an answer. I'm a product marketing manager at Procore. I've been at Procore for over 2 years, and I come from a construction family. My father works for an electrical contractor who actually is also a Procore customer. And so we'll talk about different stories and projects at the dinner table, even at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it drives our family absolutely crazy, but we enjoy it. And in my role, I'm lucky enough to work on Procore's project management solution. With over 1 million users and active projects in 125 different countries, it's both impressive and humbling to partner with groundbreakers around the world. One of those groundbreakers is my co-presenter, Keegan Kidder, but I'm going to let him introduce himself in just a couple minutes. Some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to review this slide. To really briefly summarize, content in this presentation is forward-thinking, so any purchase decisions should be made on features that are currently available. So in our world today, the industry is increasingly complex and each project has its own unique set of challenges. It could be engineering the build itself, different regulatory requirements, or complicated stakeholder dynamics. And then add on the recent pressures from COVID-19, and it's no wonder the industry is so rapidly undergoing a digital transformation. Collaborative tools are almost a requirement now in a world where construction remains an essential business, but parts of project teams may be working remote. And so the benefits of technology seem logical and almost easy on paper, but that rapid digital transformation comes with its own set of challenges. The primary reason is technology solutions are being adopted and integrated in silos. And by silos, I mean a company had a problem. So to solve that challenge, they went out and evaluated and purchased the technology solution. But the difficulty is that technology solution, let's say it's a GC's project management software, may be different than the software that your architect uses, which could also be different than any systems that your specialty contractors are using. And none of these systems talk to each other, even though you're all managing the same project information. And so what we're left with are these silos by company type, or even silos within companies by department. So maybe estimating has their own critical software they use, but the finance department lives in a totally different ERP system, all while project management teams may still predominantly be operating in spreadsheets and emails. And so each of these systems serves their own purpose, but throughout the project lifecycle, gaps start to develop in communication and collaboration that slows down teams. So in order to break down these silos, Procore's answer was to create one construction platform, connecting the entire project team from the field to the office and across companies, providing one place to do what you do best, to build. And so we give everyone from the owner to the GC to the specialty contractor the tools they need to get the job done, while breaking down the communication and data silos that have been holding the industry back. So for those of you who may not be Procore customers, know that this is a full breadth of what's available. But for this session, we're going to focus on the power of project management. That's the area where we're going to see a massive opportunity for builders and trades to collaborate. With Procore Project Management, 50% of our clients see an increase in profit margin by managing more projects without increasing headcount. 68% of project managers save 5 or more hours every single week. And 75% are completing projects faster, reducing project duration by at least 3 days. But Instead of taking our word for it, I'd like to introduce Keegan Kidder from TerWisscha to share his organization's experiences using Procore. Keegan?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So like Chris said, my name is Keegan Kidder, and I have been with Terwisha for almost 6 years now. I actually began my career in the construction industry during high school, just pushing wheelbarrows in the summers. Throughout my time in the industry, I've done everything from project management to operations management to now working as a systems manager for TWC. As a systems manager, my main duties include risk management and insurance, financial reporting and analysis, as well as working on standard operating procedures and best practices within TerWisscha Construction. So TWC was founded in 1963 by John Terwisha in Wilmer, Minnesota. The company actually started as a local residential construction firm, and as they began to build notoriety, they were able to transition into working in the commercial market, working on projects like ethanol plants, churches, banks, and so on. Then, when John Terwisha retired in 1996, he sold the company to his son, Kelly Terwisha, and son-in-law, Keith Nelson. What's interesting about this is something that we hear a lot, is that you should never go into business with your friends or your family. However, the one thing I've always known from Keith and Kelly is they both promote the same values that John Terwisha built this company on. And I think that is what has allowed them to work so well together for so long. I can absolutely say that the thing I admire most about TWC is that behind our website and marketing material and Facebook or anything out there that claims that we have these core values is that behind closed doors as a company, it's actually very important to our entire team and to our culture that we truly operate and function from these core values, that they aren't just a superficial list we claim we value, we actually practice them. As we have grown over the years, there has always been a concern that these values will dilute or diminish as you bring others in, when in reality, the culture is so foundational that when someone comes on board at TWC, it becomes very clear very quickly whether or not they are going to be a fit by how they adapt to the culture that's long been established. So once TWC entered into the commercial market, they decided to focus on niche markets in order to become experts in them. So today, TWC works primarily within the veterinary, death care, general dentistry, and oral surgery markets. We also keep a strong presence in our local market, working on traditional projects such as education, retail, food service, banking. The advantages of being experts in a niche market are pretty extensive. The philosophy behind the way we do business has always been that we provide value beyond the construction experience. So what that means is that we don't just promote the fact that we know how to put bricks and sticks together to construct a building, rather we know the ins and outs of our niche markets. We know what size building with this many exam rooms fitting within this budget in this area of the country, providing these specific services is going to be profitable for our clients. We help develop our clients' business plans to maximize their profitability within their new structure. We are design build, so when we meet with, say, a veterinary client to discuss flooring at the design development stage, it's not just about assuring them that we can install a type of flooring they want, it's that we can actually empower them with the knowledge of what flooring works best in what areas of the clinic, what holds up to dog scratches and kennels, or is most sanitary for surgery, or most comfortable for the animals to walk on. It allows us to focus on updates to equipment and technology within the industry and to build long-lasting relationships with vendors that keep us on the cutting edge of building profitable businesses for our clients. Our clients are always successful in their business because we know the industries and we know how to deliver not just a great building, but a great business as well. If we don't think a client will be successful when they approach us about a project, it's not a project we're likely to take on, even if we think we can be successful in it. As we've become known as experts in different markets, it has opened us up to projects all over the US and even in Canada. Looking at the map here, each of these pins represents either one of TWC's construction projects or a satellite office. As we have grown and diversified, we began looking at how we could still deliver the same quality projects to our clients, even when working long distances from our base operations. Now, the map may actually at first glance possibly lead you to believe that TWC has a large personnel count in order to be able to run this many projects across the entire country, but actually we only have 58 employees. So the question became, how do we still collaborate, keep the project teams on the same page, execute owner change requests without slowing down, and address issues that come up on our project sites? A big part of this would be changing our approach to technology and communication. But as we all know, change can hurt. In the past number of years, TWC has continued to move different processes, procedures, and tasks through each of the 4 stages shown here, which hasn't always been easy. I found that progress for us has often meant changing from what is known and comfortable to what is unknown and uncomfortable. At times, different processes within TWC were being done using each of the 4 methods shown here simultaneously, with some team members exclusively using 1 or 2 approaches, whereas others were using all 4 in some respect. As we began to grow in volume and employees, we realized quickly that we had to standardize our ways or we would fall into massive inefficiency issues. Being that we work nationwide with a large portion of our employees on the road full or part-time, we knew that one of the main areas of focus for us would be keeping the field in touch with the office. The main challenge with spreadsheets or our contract writing software wasn't necessarily that they didn't work, because they did, but rather it was the fact that every focus software we brought on, or every time we created a new spreadsheet for a process, we were further piecemealing our processes and making it harder to keep the entire project team on the same page. When we discovered Procore, what was most appealing to us was the emphasis that was put into tools for not just project management, but for architecture and for finance as well. And that we knew it wouldn't just be a software that would allow the entire team to collaborate no matter where the office or a job site was located. So in order to change the way we approach technology as a company, though, we needed to have vision for where we wanted to go while simultaneously understanding there is a reality to navigate of how we do that. Even in dedicating ourselves to having a vision, there remain challenges in defining what that vision would be and making sure that everybody saw it. These challenges manifested themselves for TWC in 3 distinct ways. So the first was having people who had the wrong vision. So having vision is one thing, but it's a different thing to have a vision that goes against what the organization has. I'd rather have someone not see the goal as opposed to actively working away from the goal. The second challenge was those who had a fragmented vision. So these were people who see the vision and have a desire to get there, but they haven't bought into how we're going to get there. So obviously, we weren't going to be able to phase out all of our outdated approaches to technology overnight. So we needed to prioritize our biggest areas of risk and inefficiency first. Often people who care deeply about their position can at times tend to overemphasize their own role within the company as being the most important. People with a fragmented vision often simply need reminding that their role is valued and that there is a plan to work on all areas of the organization, but there's a specific timing in which we're going to do that. So lastly, it was the challenge of those with no vision. So those with no vision can actually sometimes be helpful in executing the vision as long as they are pointed in the right direction. These individuals don't necessarily see the goal, they just want to know what to do and how to do it. However, it's often the case that if someone doesn't both see and wholly buy into the vision of the organization, they're not going to be able to contribute to it. In order to bring cohesiveness to the vision of onboarding Procore, I employed 2 main tactics as I brought in new tools and processes. The first is I relied heavily on dedicated champions. So what I mean by this is that as an organization, we highlighted certain individuals throughout the company and throughout different departments who clearly saw the vision. As we would venture into bringing new processes into Procore, we would count on these individuals to champion the new processes and help cast vision for not only TWC as a whole, but more specifically for their department and for their roles. Generally, these individuals were trusted and looked up to within their department and were able to cultivate buy-off from their peers more easily than just simply handing down a new SOP from leadership would have been able to do. Very often, these people were easy to identify as they were the ones who were always pushing for more usage, attending product demos, or just trying out different features within Procore. The second way we cast vision was through motivating our employees through training. So when I first started working at onboarding Procore for TWC, I was still relatively new to the organization, and I had to realize that I was standing on ground I hadn't actually worked to pave. One of the key aspects of cultivating vision was making sure that those who had worked so hard over the years to build TWC into what it was today felt heard and understood as we implemented processes and technology that were foreign to them. Often it was simply taking the time to listen to concerns and walk individuals through process changes that was most instrumental in bringing them into the vision, as well as helping them see they were fully capable of utilizing Procore. It can be really easy to fall into the if it's not broke, don't fix it mentality when dealing with technology and change. And often one-on-one conversations and training time can be instrumental in getting people on board with why the change is happening and what the benefits of the change are going to be. There were a couple tools within Procore that we knew we needed to implement right away, and one of those was the daily logs feature. As I mentioned before, one of the biggest areas of risk we face in working all over the country is keeping our office in touch with what's happening in the field. This was one of the areas where TWC was utilizing either pen and paper or spreadsheets, or for a couple years, we were using a very basic software. Now again, each of these methods got the job done in terms of they can obviously all be a place to store information, but the importance of daily logs goes beyond just needing to get information down on a page. We want this tool to ultimately serve us and allow us to be better in all that we do. So having a daily log tool that isn't just a place to download information from a day's work, but that actually contributes to project communication is extremely important to us. Daily logs in Procore help us accomplish this with features like the call log, which automatically logs calls made from our phones to subs and vendors and stores them directly into the daily log. Also through schedule change requests, which update the project manager of potential changes to the project daily from our field superintendents. Before, the relay of this information may have taken days to reach our office from the field, and potentially a few more for a response back from the office to the field. And of course, at that point, the information is hardly valuable anymore. Now, our project managers can choose to receive daily emails of the daily log as a digest of what happened that day on site without having to dig for the information themselves. Our superintendents are also able to use the daily log on their phone or tablet, so now they don't have to carve out dedicated time at the end of each day in order to log things like deliveries or the subcontractor progress. Rather, they're able to do this as they move about the job site throughout their day. Again, daily logs are no longer just a place to store information, but rather a tool that constantly keeps our field and office in communication. So one of the other tools at the top of our priority list was the scheduling tool. As with any construction company, deadlines are key for us to hit not only for the company, but for the success of our clients as well. Using Microsoft Project for our schedules, we have always been able to build comprehensive schedules. But again, one of the main ideas behind a schedule is making sure the field and the office are on the same page. In the past, our project managers would update their schedules, meet with our entire project team and with the field superintendent, get everyone on the same page with the new schedule, and by the end of the day, something would happen on site or with the delay in material, and the whole schedule that we just discussed would be obsolete. With Procore, we are still able to upload our same Microsoft project schedule directly into Procore, but as I mentioned before, Procore also allows our superintendents to send change requests from their daily logs in order to update the project manager daily if the latest schedule revision is still on track. Again, communication between our field and office is what's going to drive our efficiency. So this is a picture of a project we recently finished in Port Byron, Illinois. The project manager on this job was Brent Altoff, who is a self-described scheduling freak. Brent loves Microsoft Project and building schedules, which he does not only for his own projects, but also for our company as a whole. When considering a project schedule, there's a multitude of different factors that go into it, like owner change requests, critical paths, weather delays, material and equipment delays, subcontractor follow-through, on and on. As I mentioned before, we didn't want daily logs to just be a place where we could have our field superintendents download all the information about their day, but rather how do we then utilize that information in order to get a project back on track or keep it on track for the future. In order to accomplish this, Brent developed a system utilizing Procore's daily log and scheduling tools in order to keep the software working for TWC. We always want to keep the structure, which is Procore, serving the vision, which is TWC. The way we did this, or the way he did this, is by building his process around TWC's already established practice of weekly project team meetings. What he will do is every Wednesday at 6 a.m., he has Procore set up to automatically send out a 4-week look ahead to the project team. This allows a day and a half for each team member to review the schedule up until the project team meeting on Thursday afternoons. At the project team meeting is where the real value of the daily log feature comes into play. When discussing the schedule at this meeting, the project team is able to bring in multiple aspects of the daily log in order to best plan for the future of the project schedule. Brent will also discuss schedule change requests that the superintendent has submitted throughout the week in order to determine if the current schedule is still on track or if it needs to be revised. The last part in his process is then, after the weekly project meeting on Thursday, to take all the data from the daily logs, from the schedule change requests, and in conjunction with what the team discussed at the project team meeting, to update his master project schedule. Once he has updated his schedule, he then has all of his projects set up in Procore to automatically send out a 2-week look ahead to all of our vendors and subcontractors on Friday morning. So I have a quote here from Brent in which he says, "At the end of the day, the industry is changing in the ways in which we utilize technology. We went from utilizing daily logs only when legal issues arose to now utilizing them as a daily communication resource." Brent also noted that his conversations with his superintendents are now much more efficient and less frequent. Gone are the days of calls to discuss updates and issues, as now those are communicated through the daily logs, and now phone calls and meetings can center on dealing with the issues as opposed to presenting them. So wrapping all this up, as TWC continues to move forward, one of our main focuses is going to be to continue to bring our processes and practices into Procore. This will allow us to not only continue to build constant and effective communication between the office and the field, but it will also continue to ensure that we deliver high quality products to our clients. So thanks for having me, and I'll turn it back over to Chris. I also will be available down below in the chat to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Keegan. When you log into Procore, you can immediately see your portfolio of projects through a company level view. For a project manager or superintendent, these are the projects that they might be personally responsible for. Let's focus on the Vortex Business Center project, where a 3-story office building is being built in Flagstaff, Arizona. So from the project level dashboard, you can immediately see the health of the project. On this dashboard, the 2 most important parts I'll cover are the project overview and today's schedule. The project overview is really your one-stop shop for seeing what items to prioritize. You can see anything from overdue RFIs and submittals to punch list items or coordination issues. This looks like there's a few overdue RFIs that need to be taken care of. And so from here, it's easy to drill into those items and take action. You can see any open items in progress, and today's schedule showing who's on site and what they're doing. It looks like there's some carpentry and masonry work being completed today. In the next couple of weeks, there's going to be plumbing, electrical, and mechanical crews working on top of each other. So if you want to start planning, you can find more detail in the schedule tool where these items are pulling from. In the schedule tool, you could upload your master project schedule from systems like Microsoft Project or Oracle Primavera. For general contractors who need to coordinate with their trade partners on the schedule, uploading the schedule file into Procore allows you to visualize and collaborate in one single system. Many contractors will use a PDF export sent via email, but that's not always easy for trade partners to get a quick understanding of what needs to be accomplished within a specific time frame. Today, we recommend schedules are created and edited in your company's native scheduling software, but using Procore Drive with Windows, any changes made in that scheduling software will automatically sync into Procore. From the Gantt view, you can configure to see the critical path, dependencies, and percent complete. On this project, the schedule is resource loaded with 17 different specialty contractors. That would normally require a lot of legwork, phone calls, and emails to get aligned across the project team. But with Procore's unlimited user model, trade partners can be invited to collaborate in your Procore account with no extra fees. Pops Electrical can come in, filter the schedule to see the tasks relevant to them, and understand their work as it relates to dependencies or the critical path. For superintendents who are regularly meeting with trade partners to build out a more granular level of task execution, the new lookaheads feature is a simple and intuitive way to facilitate the conversation. Just create a new lookahead, select the start date and duration, and Procore will pull tasks and milestones from your master schedule that fall within the time frame of that look ahead. Similar to the Gantt view, you have configurations and filters that make this information easily digestible, but there's also an opportunity for trades to have input on the schedule. Maybe in your weekly scheduling meeting, it comes up that there's potential overlap between Pops Electric installing area transformers and Comfortable HVAC installing duct. It wasn't mentioned in the master schedule, but the general foreman from Pops Electric clarified that the transformer is actually permitted to be installed above the drop ceiling. So we're going to push back Comfortable HVAC a couple days. And then add that additional detail from Pops Electric in the lookaheads. Instead of whiteboard sessions, Excel, or phone calls, everybody with access to your Procore account can see these lookaheads or have them auto-distributed to their inbox every week. If any changes are made, you could also compare your lookahead with the master schedule to understand any discrepancies or schedule impacts. Now that we've gotten everybody on the same page with what needs to be done, superintendents can go out in the field and actually track progress from a mobile device. Daily logs are where you can keep track of who showed, what work was completed, and any other critical events that happen on the job site. It can be time consuming to fill out daily logs, so this tool was designed to keep it as simple and easy as possible for field teams. Weather logs will automatically populate. Here's a delivery for the tile contractor from this morning. And you could also see where our schedule pre-populated the daily log, making it easy to record the work from the carpentry and masonry contractors that were on site. Even if you're not connected to the internet, these can still be filled out in offline mode and will automatically submit when you're reconnected to a network. The calendar view is a great way to see which days have pending or completed and approved logs. So you could always look back and have that record of knowing exactly what happened on any given day. If you're doing similar work from the day before, you could easily copy over the previous day's logs to eliminate the burden on field teams to have to re-enter that data. All the fields in the daily log are also reportable. So if you need to know the number of manpower hours used in the past weeks or the amount of time wasted due to project delays, the daily log will allow you to quickly gather this information and reports for progress meetings, look aheads, or even use on future projects. We hope this session was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you all next year in person at Groundbreak 2021. Thank you to everybody in attendance.